Marvel has a well and documented history of knowing how to completely fumble the bag with some of the villains they introduced in the MCU. I'm talking about Abomination, I'm talking about Kang, Ultron, Taskmaster. Thank God that in the Thunderbolts movie, this version of Taskmaster will probably be killed off. I'm talking about the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. Thank God that they actually rebooted that Mandarin and they actually reintroduced the Mandarin in Shang-Chi. But still, the fact that that Mandarin did not even encounter Tony Stark in any way, shape, or form is very, very disappointing. Alongside Kang in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, we also saw that the MCU ruined MODOK. And just recently, as in Captain America Brave New World, we saw the MCU butcher the leader and the Super Society. So it seems that the MCU really loves to destroy and deconstruct some great villains from the 616 comics. And we have Malekith and we have Gore the God Butcher. And when we saw Gore the God Butcher, it was so embarrassing to see how MCU watered down this great villain from the Thor comics, man. And it seems that this trend has unfortunately continued into one of the MCU's most recent projects, and that is Daredevil Born Again. Now let me say something first. Daredevil Born Again has two great villains, the main antagonist Kingpin and King Von himself, Bullseye. But Bullseye right now, he's currently serving a life sentence for killing Foggy, and Kingpin, he is currently the mayor of New York, and he is trying to lie to the citizens that he is a great mayor, a great politician, but he is also doing some shady business behind the scenes. But there is another villain that was introduced in Daredevil Born Again, and it is a very obscure villain called Muse. Now Muse in the 616 comics, the thing about Muse that made him so intriguing to a lot of fans, including myself, because when we saw Muse in the 616 comics, when we saw his debut, Muse was a very mysterious figure. He never revealed his name, he never revealed his real origins, he never revealed anything about his life. The only thing that he really revealed was his sadistic artwork that he was showcasing around New York and around the city. And another thing about Muse that was so mysterious is his powers, because Muse in the 616 comics, he has superhuman strength, he can climb walls, kind of akin to how Spider-Man climbs walls. The biggest power that Muse has is his complete imperceptibility, because Muse's body acts like a complete black hole that makes him a very formidable foe to Daredevil, because Daredevil, he completely relies on his heightened senses due to him being blind, so he can basically see everything through his hearing and through breathing, through just feeling things. But Muse, his powers is that he can basically shut himself off, so Daredevil cannot sense him, Daredevil can't really detect him, but obviously Daredevil can if he really tries very hard enough. But Muse, he can basically undetect himself, so it'll be very hard to know who he is. That's why I really liked Muse in the 616 comics, because he is a very mysterious figure. And even though he debuted in 2016, we still have a lot to explore with Muse's character. So when I saw that Daredevil Born Again would introduce Muse, and when I actually watched the initial episodes that Muse was showcased in, I really liked where they were going with at first. I really thought that Daredevil Born Again was doing justice to Muse's character, but even though there was one little red flag that I saw that they did, and there was some discourse that this new patient is going to be Muse. Initially, I actually knew that this was going to be Muse, but I hoped that this wasn't going to be Muse, because that would have destroyed his credibility of being a very mysterious figure, because in the show, this patient has a name, while in the 616 comics, Muse's name has not been revealed yet. And now Daredevil Born Again episode 7, it seems that this has been completely confirmed. confirmed this new patient is Muse. And when I saw that, I was like, I don't really like where they were going with, because remember, Muse's backstory has not been touched in the 616 comics. We don't know virtually anything about Muse's early life. It's a real mystery. So when we're seeing Muse given exposition about how his life was when he was growing up, he was in Taekwondo when he was a teenager, he hated his Taekwondo master, and this caused him to kill his Taekwondo master. And we're just hearing a lot of this exposition that is dumping on us, that is explaining who Muse is. And I was like, okay, you're killing his mystique, man. I was like, I hope they really don't go there, but they went there. And this is not a video where I'm just completely disrespecting and criticizing this entire episode. No, there are a lot of things I liked about this episode, and that is in particular with how Daredevil attacks Muse in the eventual culminating fight. And the way that he attacks Muse is because after Muse escaped, when Daredevil caught him and he beat his ass so badly, he tried to kill Muse, but the fact that Angela Del Toro, she was still there and Daredevil had to attend to her, Muse got away. This caused the NYPD to be sent there and to investigate Muse's lair, and they were just discovering a lot of things that was revealing who Muse really is. So I forgot this detective's name, but she basically discovered a lot of details about Muse's life. So she now relays all of these details back to Mayor Fisk, and she tells Mayor Fisk that Muse had a troubled childhood, particularly when he was a teenager. When he was 15, he was admitted into a psychiatric home. Then when he was 16, it happened again. When he was 17, it happened again. When he was 18, when he was 20, when he was 21. And we're just seeing that there is a big pattern in Muse's early childhood life of Muse not really being a good Samaritan. Muse had a short fuse, and Muse, he was actually a psychopath as a teenager. And she even alluded to Mayor Fisk that she believed that Muse was the one that killed his Taekwondo teacher. So Mayor Fisk now tells her, okay, what you gave me is good, but that's all I need from you right now. You can go. So after this, Mayor Fisk now tells his task force to go to the same location that Muse is at, because the way that they get his new current location is because they're seeing that he has been making visits to Heather, and now that he is the new patient for Heather, they can actually pinpoint exactly where he's currently at. So as the new task force goes there, Daredevil simultaneously goes there as well, because simultaneously when the NYPD were investigating Muse's lair, Daredevil was there as well, and Daredevil was looking at some of the paintings and the art that Muse drew. Daredevil was using his hands to feel the paintings, to feel the pictures, and he was like, oh Jesus Christ, this is Heather. Muse's next victim is Heather. So Daredevil, before he leaves, that dick, that weirdo police officer that caused Hector Ayala to go on that big trial, that caused Hector Ayala to eventually be killed, was there as well. So Daredevil knocks him out, and Daredevil now runs to the location that the NYPD are going there. So now it's a race. Both parties are going to the same location, but Daredevil reaches there first. And Daredevil, once he is in there, we see that Muse is turning into a sadistic weirdo, because before Daredevil even reaches there, Muse was basically trauma dumping his whole life to Heather, and Heather was gradually becoming more and more uncomfortable. She was trying to change the subject. She was trying to talk about his homework, talk about some other subject, but Muse was telling Heather, you are the key to my life. You are the key. That's why I'm here. You make everything make sense. You are the key to what I have been looking for, and that's you. So Muse ties her up. He binds her. He is kind of torturing her. She wants to flee, but she can't. And he is basically trying to do something that when I was watching, I was like, bro, is this nigga about to turn into a Diddy? Because before Daredevil crashes into the window, Muse was trying to take off her pants. I was like, whoa, 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 what are you doing there, my nigga? Like, yo, you gotta not do that, bro. And thank God Daredevil burst through the window in time, and Daredevil was basically beating his ass because, you know, Daredevil, he is stronger than Muse in this show, which it now ties back into the problem I had with this episode, is because in the 616 comics, Muse has superhuman strength. He is not like freakishly strong, don't get me wrong. He is not someone that can destroy a building with one punch, but Muse's strength proves to be a formidable opponent to Daredevil in the comics. But in this show, they make Muse just get his ass beat. I'm talking about his first fight, Muse got beat up so bad by Daredevil. Now in this second fight, Muse was getting his ass whooped again by Daredevil, and Daredevil was just going to town on Muse, and Daredevil even shot his baton through Muse's chest, and he now basically recoiled Muse back to Daredevil. I was like, damn, they're hoeing this nigga. And before Muse could have even had a chance to stab Daredevil, we see that Muse gets shot by Heather, and Heather, she shot Muse because, you know, if you're in Heather's shoes, you would do the same thing too. You were tortured, you were kidnapped, you were basically about to get diddied, so she had to do what she had to do. But damn, they killed Muse like that, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. It's kind of anticlimactic. I hope that they revive Muse and they give Muse his superhuman abilities, because I do think that Muse is scheduled to be in Daredevil Born Again season 2, so hopefully they will revive Muse and they will give Muse his actual powers. But man, I do think they kind of dropped the ball with his initial introduction, and this ties back into the main theme of this video, because the MCU, they have a big problem in introducing good villains from the comics onto the big/little screen. We have already seen all of the examples, man. The worst one was the Mandarin and Kang and Gore the God Butcher and Abomination, Malekith, Taskmaster. A lot of these classic and great villains from the 616 comics, and when they are translated onto the big and little screen, it's just very disappointing. And it's also disappointing to see that Muse is a part of this list right now. For now, we'll have to see what happens in season 2, but that's the end of the video, man. I mean, I will talk about the other thing that happened in the episode where we saw Vanessa try to put out a hit on Kingpin, but that's kind of not really the point of this video. But that's the end of the video, man. What do you guys think about Muse's introduction into the MCU? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Me personally, I'm indifferent. I'm in between. I liked his debut, but I hated that they stripped away his mystique and they made him not be mysterious, but they made him just be a common serial killer. Even though he is a serial killer in the comics, but the mysterious vibe around his life was what pulled me in, man. That's the end of the video. I'm out. Peace.